السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي يشتد به أزري ويشرك في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وارنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين. Yes, inshallah, we will continue studying 23rd word, and now Anne is going to give us a summary of last week's discussion and some introduction to today's subject, inshallah.
Inshallah, thank you.
Please.
So we continued with the 23rd word last week, and we sort of elaborated a little bit more on what it means, the miniature specimen of the universe, that man is a miniature specimen of the universe. And we made it clear that it does not mean a super being or being in a superior position. This term miniature specimen of the universe doesn't give anyone a higher position of creation or to impose themselves on other beings. What it requires, or what it means, is that man has to assume higher responsibility in the way he interacts with the universe. The human has, in fact, unlimited capacity, which requires then higher responsibility. And we gave the comparison of how a dog has perfect qualities like loyalty and smell, but can excel only in its limited capacity, whereas humans have an unlimited capacity. And then we talked about this beautiful paragraph of disbelief. I think you have it there on the screen, right there, yes. So whereas the previous paragraph talked about belief consisting of being connected to the maker, disbelief is the severance of that relation. The divine names are plunged into darkness and become illegible. The sublime arts with disbelief are attributed to causes, nature, and chance. In fact, they will be like a lump of coal. And there was this beautiful analogy of the lump of coal. Further, disbelief destroys human nature and transforms it from diamonds into coal. So the beautiful qualities of the sublime art and the unlimited potential of the human being through disbelief become nothing more than a lump of coal. And we thought this was a very interesting analogy because coal can be used as a fuel for the fire, both in the present and in the future. Then we move to the second point, where we're looking at how belief not only illuminates man, but the universe as well. And for this, Nursi is using Surah 2, Ayah 257 of the Quran, in which God is the protector of those who believe. He leads them out of darkness into light. So, in order to illustrate this ayah, Nursi discusses a vision of crossing a bridge using a dim torch, and which is the same thing as my ego. And we concluded, or he concludes this aspect of crossing the bridge with the dim torch as it only brings me trouble, or this torch brings me only trouble. And that's where we left off, which we will take up this week.
Thank you very much. We are going to really analyze and read the following text to analyze what torch is. So it is explained here, the claim of self-existence. When you say I self-exist, or as a result of causal chains and accidents, happen to be, I reduce my existence to meaninglessness, valuelessness, and therefore, if I am meaningless, the rest of the universe definitely will be meaningless in my eye. So everything will be just meaningless. That is why dim torch, it means self-existing, only looks its own existence and sees no imprint, sign of its creator. So its value becomes just as it is material or body, physical body. And I am worth only as my physical body. Unfortunately, if a person says, I am only a physical body but nothing else, then this person has to deny human feelings and expectations and everything. So what those people claim that human feelings are the result of, I mean, they don't say the death, but disappearing from existence. What? But obviously it means when we die, we disappear from existence. So we realized that how do they explain it? It's so ridiculous. Although they say it is not experimentally proved that the next life, eternal life, exists, and it is not experimentally proved that human feelings really exist in the essence of human beings, but rather it is the result of fear of going into non-existence at the moment of when a person dies, they develop this kind of solutions to run away from this fear. When I read all these kind of explanations, I found them it's very the fallacy in the reasoning why human beings have this sense of fear of death, fear of existence, so that they try to look for a solution for it. How about the existence of this sense? Can I acquire it from someone? Whereas all the animate beings have this fear of death. Not only human beings with their intelligence that they will learn from it. I was so surprised and took pity on these people. They say, but eternal life, full satisfaction of human potentials, as Anne said, they are immense and infinite. These expectations are not experimentally proven. So ridiculous, this idea. And really, they think that they are very reasonable people, rational people. But experimentally, it means physically, I will put it in lab and see, human feelings are here. You cannot put it. Can you put life in lab and see, life is here. Can you deny life? They say, no, we can't deny life because we make comparison between dead body and living body. We know that dead body is lacking something, and that is life. And exactly the same way, we put human body and feelings. A living body has feelings. We understand that dead body doesn't have feelings. And I cannot explain it to these defenders. But because they say it is not experimentally proven, but they believe in the existence of life. It's not experimentally proven either. So really, this arrogance, this torch, means, as it is explained, the claim of self-existing. Ultimately, self-existing means I don't have any creator. I don't have any source of existence. That claim turns everything into darkness, meaninglessness. It is obvious to everyone unless they don't have prejudice, biased attitude. I'm not going to accept anything other than matter. That is why lots of other people, rather than obstinate materialist people, they really try to understand what this, although they may not believe in God as the creator, but at least there are many people who are philosophers and there are many scientists. They accept that human beings have immense capacity, immense potential apart from their body. And not only me, that I have my feelings, dogs have their feelings, animals have their feelings. Uh, if you really insult a cat, you know that it takes a certain attitude to you. If you have a loving relationship with a cat or a dog, they really love it and respond back. Well, this is a very real, experimentally proven evidence that living beings have senses. Of course, I believe since living beings have senses, especially animals are very obvious, they have senses. The animals demonstrate compassion to their babies. Human beings are obvious. They show compassion to their children, to their neighbors, to other people, to other beings. Oh, this is my experience. But they reduce experience to matter only. And by definition, senses are not matter. Human spirit is not matter. So it contradicts this definition of senses and materialists' definition of experiment. Materialists' definition of experiment, uh, doing an experiment, reduces everything to matter. And we are talking about human life, living beings, the life of living beings, and animal senses, human senses, and they say it is not it is not experimentally proven. But your definition of experiment is reduced to matter. This contradiction, it's obvious contradiction, but how people really believe in them or follow this idea, I can't. I can't. Impossible. That is an interesting how this reality of this egotistic people's attitude saying that I am not going to accept that I have a creator. I existed by myself, feeling that they are declaring their freedom. You can declare your freedom from being the slave of anything else in the universe. That is human freedom. We respect this. But you cannot declare freedom from the source of your existence, from the source of the existence of the universe. You cannot declare freedom from it because your very existence of desiring freedom is given to you. This sense is given to you by your creator. So he says, the creator gave this sense, so don't subjugate yourself to another created being like yourself. This is where we have to use the sense of freedom, not to accept any superiority position over me, something or anything like me needs to be created. So that is why human freedom really must be experienced within the universe, the other parts of the universe. So I cannot subjugate myself to any superpower, declaring superpower. Nothing can be superpower within the universe, understanding that they are like me, created beings. All the concepts are mixed up, confused, but it's a very unbelievable problem of this age, materialistic worldview. The torch is very important. That's why here we will go the human ego, which is egotistical. Inshallah, we are going to read this part as the explanation of the uh, story or whatever example demonstrated. Now, he says, I awoke from my vision and I understood what it means. And inshallah, we are going to read and make an analysis. I'm sorry, I am troubled with this idea of materialism denying human senses, full of contradiction, but unfortunately, no one is really exposing this contradiction openly to the minds of the people, not very clearly. So it needs an hard work, and it is the responsibility of the believers to work on it, inshallah. Any more comment? Otherwise, we can go on reading, inshallah.
Inshallah. I'll start.
Yeah, if no one has comments, including yourself, we can read.
Okay. Thus, the two mountains were the beginning and end of life. That is, this world and the intermediate realm. The bridge was the road of life. To the right was the past, and to the left, the future. As for the small torch, it was the human ego, which is egotistical, relies on what it knows, and does not need the heavenly revelation. The things imagined to be the monsters were the events and strange creatures of the world. Do you want me to continue?
I think it is clear. The text is open, explaining the previous description of the story.
Could I ask a question about well, I think I know, but I'm not sure. The term intermediate realm, that's where believers, or that's where we go. And can you explain it a little bit more?
Everyone, my brief answer, brief answer is, when we die, we will experience it, whatever it is. So don't worry, we will experience it. But human curiosity wants to understand what will happen. For example, the life, next creation. Also, when after we die, we will experience it, but we want to understand and make sense of it. Intermediate realm, I can explain it in this way as much as I can, and it is the matter of dispute among many, many scholars, because intermediate realm is introduced in the sayings of through the sayings of the prophet, and not really clearly stated in the Quran, but because prophetic explanation of intermediate realm has different, like an hell, expecting to be executed, or like a paradise expecting to be given what all my spirit desired for. This explanation is, or this information is obtained from the hadith narrations. Now, one of our friends, my friend, your friend, exactly, your friends are my friends. So I can say our friends explain the feelings of a person who got on a, let's say, a bus or train, or airplane, any means of transportation. And one of them believes that when this vehicle arrives at the destination, everybody will be thrown away and executed. The other one understands that this transportation vehicle is meaningfully desired, and also it is traveling in a meaningful way. And although he doesn't know who put him or her on the train, but he found him there. Of course, we all understood that I found myself in the train of the universe, and I found myself in it, and the universe is continuously moving. So I know one life, my life will end up somewhere. It means the destination as far as I am concerned. If I understood that this universe is meaningful, everything is perfectly provided, all my needs are perfectly arranged, I believe in the train of the universe, or airplane of the universe is better, airplane of the universe, since everything is arranged perfectly, since I am given the sense of expecting even more satisfaction than what my life, conditions of my life in the universe at the moment. So I say there must be a reasonable, compassionate pilot, if you like, taking care of everything. So I say, no, he wouldn't really throw it into non-existence, execute us for no reason, because he put me here. He is entertaining me here while I am traveling in the airplane of universe. So let's board on the airplane together with this imaginary man who thinks everything is accidental and happened to be, and we are going to be executed. Now, as the journey starts, how we start feeling, we have to analyze and look at ourselves seriously, to listen to our feelings, how we feel. As the airplane goes, the one who doesn't believe that this airplane is consciously arranged and has a conscious, compassionate, merciful captain, pilot, and he feels that he's going to kill me. He's going to kill me. At the end, as the airplane gets closer to the destination where we feel, as we get aged, we know that destination is getting closer and closer and closer. My feeling of fear of being executed increases, increases, increases. And then when I die, I will be treated according to my perception of the pilot. Pilots will say to me, okay, get out. You didn't, I brought you here and I'm taking you out here. You didn't appreciate all my merciful blessings provided for you, or all bounties that I provided for you. Okay, you insulted me. We will read another description similar to this in the following paragraphs. Now, this period of feelings, while we are in this world, is represented in the sayings of the prophet as intermediate realm between my life here and between the day of resurrection. The day of resurrection approaches more and closer and closer. The denier's fear of execution in the description of the Quran now, the fear of being thrown into hell, deprived of everything, will increase. That is the realm of intermediate realm. And although this description uh, presents the unbeliever's fear, on the other hand, the believer's fear, trusting the pilot, thanking him on his behalf, anything he obtains while he is on board. He said, thank you, pilot. I know, you are taking care of it because I need this and you provided it. Now, I haven't seen you, but I'm sure it is consciously arranged. The more he gets closer to the end, his pleasure of receiving a better alternative of existence increases. Or he has entertained here that beautifully what will happen after I get out of the airplane. Definitely, he must be provided a better, a much better place for me. Trust in him. We will study this reality. So this person's feeling in the intermediate realm will be exactly waiting for the resurrection call. In the description, of course, there's a description in the Quran. It says, how can I say it? Waiting for the resurrection, and they will be taken into account. Everybody will be taken into account. So during this period of beginning of the journey, end of the journey, on the airplane, reflects its counterpart after I die. When am I going to be treated in paradise and in hell? That is, I can demonstrate it in this way, but in an example, physical experience of this, physical experience. That is my understanding, but I'm not 100% sure it is really consistent or not. The example describing this intermediate realm. A fruit is created with in itself with a seed, and this seed has the potential in it, but this potential is not realized yet. Why? It is waiting for a right position, right conditions to grow into a tree, another tree, new tree. Now, waiting between, being a seed of a fruit fully equipped to be recreated, and this quality within it, or this potential within it, waits until a right position. Right position is uh, he is put in a right position so that it will grow. In the description of the Quran, but we have to be very careful. This uh, Israfil blowing on the horn, I think it is in the Torah as well. So Christian and Jewish narrations have this concept of blowing on the horn. And Islam is obvious in the Quran, Israfil. وَنُفِخَ فِيهِ وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ. So that is how the word is used in the Quran. Quran says twice. That is interesting. First, declaring the destruction of the whole universe, and second, declaring the resurrection, recreation of everything again in a new type of existence. Within these two blows, but this is symbolic, obvious, blows, there is a period. This period is understood as the intermediate realm, as the prophet refers to, between two blows. In physical example, remember the seed example, but in psychological example, remember the travel example on the board of an airplane. Psychologically, how we experience physically, while we are in the intermediate realm, physically, potential is there waiting to be realized, physically experienced. Whether the tree, the seed grows into a tree or not, still potential is there. When it grows into a tree, this potential is realized now. Now, the resurrection is the realization of the human's potential, human feelings, physically recreated during the second creation, which is called resurrection, Hashr. So combine these two examples together and try to understand the physical and psychological side of intermediate realm. That is the only way I can understand with these two different examples, combining together and trying to make sense of the intermediate realm. And the prophet seriously warns, but it's serious warning of the people, warning the people around him, saying that seek refuge with this intermediate realm, the pain of intermediate realm. It means, as far as I understand, I don't guarantee what I understood is right, but just my understanding. Avoid, while you are here, avoid having a negative attitude towards the pilot of the airplane of the universe, creator, God. Avoid avoid losing your faith that as you get aged, he's going to torture you. He's going to throw you away into non-existence. He's doing something nonsense. No, trust him. Trust him. He's going to treat you with his mercy if you put trust in him. That is what the warning of the prophet, asking God, asking the people to pray to God to protect themselves from the hard life of intermediate realm, practically to be explained while I am living in this world. Whatever happens, I should put my trust in the creator of these events and understood that my creator is reminding me something, reminding me my reality. I cannot guarantee my existence. I cannot guarantee the existence of anything at all. I cannot assure that everything will be as my egotistic desires want. But I am a student in the universe. I have to understand my reality, my position in the universe. So accordingly, my creator is teaching me mostly, majority of the time, by favoring me, sometimes giving small, partial, temporary reminders, creating something that I don't like and say, yes, you shouldn't like it. Yes, don't like it. I'm not saying we have to like it, but we shouldn't criticize why the things that I don't like are created. Look for the wisdom in their creation related to your being a student in this world. For example, you are an excellent student, let's say. A teacher comes and warns everybody, says, if you don't study, you won't get the degree. If you don't get the degree after graduation, you will have nothing, no qualification at all. You will be miserable. Those people who don't study will be trembling. But those people who study will be thankful. Yeah, that seems to be, but I took my precautions and I prepared myself, and they don't get angry with the teacher because he gave a severe warning. That is why a believer is expected to not criticize the creator if he gives a warning. That is what I understand the prophetic warning to the people, or really advising the people, seek refuge with God, not to experience this the pain of intermediate realm. Briefly, and just wrapping up, be always or have always positive attitude towards the creation and try to understand the wisdom which is related to your education. You have to learn it. If you don't study one day, sit for the exam, the teacher will not give you 100% grade. And he will say, no, you didn't do it. Previously you did best, but this time didn't. So your grade will be C, D, if not F. Don't get angry. He is warning you. Don't repeat this one again. So we are fallible, we are forgettable people. So we need to be reminded. So that is the attitude that the prophetic uh, advice or information should be understood as far as I am concerned. Otherwise, this traditional understanding of intermediate realm may cause you or put you in a trouble not to make sense of it because it is not explained. Mostly, these explanations that the general public Muslim people talk about it, perjury or this kind of languages they use in English. And also Jewish tradition has this kind of concepts or subjects. And when I read them, I say, this is a literal understanding of the text. Literal, we cannot understand any sacred text literally because sacred texts in the form of Torah or in the form of Quran or in the form of Bible or in the form of hadith narrations or in Jewish tradition in the form of rabbinic interpretations of Torah should be understood not literally but as a description of something which is expected to transfer into universal meaning. Universal meaning cannot be explained in or said it, cannot be said in literally exactly. It must be descriptive, figurative, so that we should interpret it. All this literal reading of the Quran, literal reading of the Hadith may put us in trouble unless we know that we are just reading the literal translation of the text and then try to make sense of it. Now, what this literal explanation is telling me, this is the method I have to be very careful. Sacred texts are universal messages, cannot be explained or stated in literal form by its nature. Universal, valid time-wise or sky-wise, space-wise. Universal. No, it must be how do you say, resilient. The meaning must be flexible. So you can adapt it to your capacity according to the conditions of your time and space. This principle is extremely important, and I see mostly slipping away from our attention. That is why I keep repeating in these discussions. Thank you. Sorry, too long, but the question was, I said, can I get into intermediate realm subject or not? But I am thankful to Anne. He brought it, but it took most of our time. It is not easy.
Oh, I want to thank you so much for that incredible explanation. I've never heard it explained that way. Um, really, it's thank you very much.
So I can bold it now. Before I didn't
Oh,
do.
you were trying to avoid bolding it because you knew it was complex.
But it to explain doesn't take a short time.
No, it doesn't. But I think it was important to stop and have this explanation here because I don't know when else it would have come up, you know?
You're right, for everyone as well. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. So
I think we all benefited tremendously from this. I can only speak for myself, but I've never heard it explained this way. So thank you
you are most
very
welcome.
much.
So Ferreira says the concept of intermediate realm seems to be happening now. Yeah, it starts. Paradise starts now, hell starts now, and intermediate realm starts now, according to my attitude towards my creator, source of existence. Perfect comment. Thank you.
Okay, so I will continue.
Yeah.
Allah. Thus, one who relies on his ego who falls into the darkness of heedlessness and is afflicted with the blackness of misguidance, resembles my first state in the vision, which, like with the pocket torch and due to deficient and misguided knowledge, saw the past in the form of a huge grave amid darkness, imbued with non-existence. It showed the future to be a stormy and desolate wasteland, governed by coincidence and events and beings, which are all submissive officials of one all wise and all compassionate who be monsters. Such a person as though manifests the verse, and those who reject belief, those protectors are the evil ones. They lead them out of light into darkness. From Surah 2, Ayah 257 of the Quran.
Unfortunately, although their reasoning is full of misconceptions, deceptions, tricky way of speaking, but when I argue back, they keep saying this contradiction. They don't want to admit that this is a contradiction. They say these human feelings, human side. First of all, when I say, how can human beings learn from the religious texts, the promising the next creation? They say religious texts heavily bombarding the minds of the people and uh, indoctrinating them that there is a hereafter, there is a hereafter. That is remained in human, they say, human evolutionary process. It's a made-up story. And I say, but the animals have the same thing, although not as large as human beings, as wide as human beings' senses. Animals also learned from religious, their religious sources. I mean, they say, no, it's not experimentally proven, so materialist worldview cannot accept it. Materialist worldview is taken for granted without any questioning whether materialist worldview has any logical legitimacy. Taken for granted. This describing that the universe consists of matter only and says that human beings don't have feelings. But your description, you reduced from the very beginning. Yesterday, I was arguing with this. So with this intelligence, artificial intelligence sources. So you described that everything consists of matter only, and then saying, material, I didn't experience the senses. But your description of existence, reality, only matter. That's it. That's why you cannot, because senses are not matter. And also they cannot deny life. They say this, living beings, that's materialists, cannot say there is no difference between the immaterial being and, no, sorry, not immaterial being. Animate being and inanimate being, it is their great grandfathers talked about the famous matter. So matter has two animate beings and inanimate beings, this description. So animate beings have plant life and animal life. Living beings have two, and plant life is this, animal life has these categories. They speak about categories, and they cannot deny it. So they cannot deny life. Living beings, animate beings means the living beings which has life. So, but can you put life in lab? Now we experience that dead body and living body. Yes, we experience that dead body and feeling body, loving body, laughing body, crying body. Why don't you see other side of life, like feelings, not material, immaterial feelings? That is interesting. That is why the Nursi explains reality of belief in angels, starting from reality of life, because no one can deny life. So seeing the parallel relationship between life and angel. In this angelic side of the universe is life of the universe, like human beings. But human beings has their own consciousness. Animals have their own consciousness. Universe must have his own consciousness. So because it is meaningful. So life is very important, and they cannot deny the existence of life. That is why that is their weak point. They never argue about it. So ridiculous, so ridiculous. I mean, when I argue with AI, uh, I think you know better than I do. I argue with the existing data in the universe, in the world's general culture, mostly occupied, invest in how to say, oh, invested maybe by materialist uh, uh, concepts and sayings. Believers don't produce any reasonable explanation of existence. Although physically they don't allow the believers articles, scientific articles published in journals, but they are expected to, scientists, believing scientists are expected to bombard the how do you say, literature by not scientific journals. They don't accept it. They are really monopolized by I don't know which kind of people. No one knows who they are, but they say no. If somebody comes up with another journal, they say it is not scientific journal. We don't acknowledge it. And if a thesis gives a reference to that source, they won't accept the thesis because it is not a scientific reference. So this is a terrorism going on in the world that we don't understand. As if everything is really freely happening. No, it is not. Sorry. I again. Okay, sorry. I'm very much troubled with this situation because through these ideologies, the people are misled. I mean, billions of people are misled. We have to be troubled with this problem. Inshallah, the believers will wake up, regardless of Jewish believers, Christian believers, Muslim believers. They have to work, combine. Nursi says, we have to work together against atheistic ideology with Christians and all believing people, We shouldn't fall into dispute with the secondary subjects. Now, Christians said Jesus is like this. Leave them. Do they believe in God? Yes. Unite them. That call was made by Nursi 100 years ago. Unfortunately, it is not taken seriously, and practically there is no production. Unfortunately, that is this partisanship, group mentality. We are Muslims, you are Christians, and fighting with each other while atheism is invading the whole universe. we ignore atheism, compete with each other. Christian missionaries try to convert Muslims into Christianity. Some of the Muslim scholars try to reject Christian theology of Trinity. It's a horrible situation. And leave the field to atheist materialists. They are really conquering everywhere, misleading people. This is the problem of this age. The believers must wake up. Anyways, this alternative paragraph, let's read this alternative paragraph, because the first paragraph we read today, those who reject belief, their protectors are the evil ones. They lead them out of light into darkness. But the other alternative, here we are going to read, and today's discussion will be over, inshallah. What do you think?
Oh, yes, I can do that.
Please do that.
Okay. But if such a man attains to divine guidance and belief enters his heart, and if the tyranny of his soul is smashed and he heeds God's book, he will resemble my second state in the vision. Then the universe will suddenly take on the color of day and be filled with divine light. The world will recite the verse, God is the light of the heavens and the earth. This is from Ayah 24. Surah 24, Ayah 35.
Thank you very much. Oh, what do you think? We have to read until the third point and see.
Can
If
if you
there's any
want.
point to be discussed, we can discuss next week. If there is not, we can start from the third point. I think the case seems to be clear. What do you think? Just read it.
Yeah, just finish it.
Sorry?
I think we should just keep reading and finish down to the third point.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, because there's continuity. Then he will see with the eye of the heart that the past is not a vast grave, but where the groups of purified spirits who each century have performed their duties of worship under the leadership of a prophet or saint exclaim, God is most great, on completion of the duties of their lives, and fly to elevated abodes, moving on to the past. He will look to the left and through the light of belief, distinguish in the distance a feasting place of the most merciful, set up in palaces of bliss in the gardens of paradise, beyond the mountainous revolutions of the intermediate realm and the hereafter. And he will realize that the storms and earthquakes and tempestuous events are all submissive officials, and understand that they are the means for instances of wisdom, which, though apparently harsh, are in fact most gentle, like the storms and rains of spring. He will even see death to be the introduction to eternal life, and the grave the door to everlasting happiness. You can deduce further aspects for yourself. Apply the reality to the comparison.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And we'll start with the third point next week.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you for
Oh,
reading
you're welcome. Very
and our
welcome.
friends joining. Inshallah, next Monday, we will have our meeting again, Tuesday again, next Saturday. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة.